Yes, the participants of the students of the SLW 616, Karibu Sana to my online class and you read what I posted on the screen. Unmute and read what I posted on the screen.
Economic analysis of tort law.
The negligence determination. Professor Dr. Mohammed Saheb Hussain, Professor of Law, South Tanzania. So without wasting the time, let me go to my class. Yes. See, up to the asterisk mark I dealt in my last class. And here asterisk mark was there. And I dealt the class law, that is the case OBG versus LN in my last class. And a continuation is there. Knowledge of the other contract does not need to be the particularly detailed. As per the JT Stratford and Sons Limited versus Lindley, 1965, Appellate Court 269, the defendant were a union who, in an illegitimate attempt to negotiate with the claimant barge operators, told their members to refuse to work on the claimant's barge, thus causing them to fail to meet the obligations of the clients. Here barge means it's like a small boat carrying the cargo from the main ship to the shore. The reason is the main vessel will not come to the shore because of the shallow water. It will stand in the at least the middle of the sea. From there, the barges, other small boats will carry the cargo to the shore. So whereas it could not be said that the defendant had a specific knowledge of the terms of their employee's contract that they were seeking to breach, this was not necessary. It was merely enough to know that they were causing some sort of contractual breach. If any employee, those who are in contract, the barge, if they commit a contractual breach, naturally they should be held liable to pay the compensation. Because a contract would be there when the vessel in the middle of the sea and the cargo should be come to the shore, the barges could be used over there. A little quantity of the cargo will be carried in the barges and it reach to the shore. That is the case law. So a tort is also one inducing a third party away from the contract they are already in, rather than putting a better offer on the table with the third party is merely considering that the deal they will take. Once the deal was there to carry the cargo from the ship which is there in the middle of the sea, if any other party has given the more amount, then this barge owner should not make the breach of contract. If they do so, means the other parties induced them to make the breach of contract. I don't know whether you know the barge, B-A-R-G-E, barge. If you know it, you tell me. If you don't know it, you say pass on. Answer me.
Pass on.
Barge is nothing but a boat, but carry the cargo from the middle of the sea to the shore. It is like a small ship. A small ship doesn't need a depth water to come to the shore. A big vessel will not come to the shore. It will come to the harbor because harbor having the depth more. Then it comes to the shore. I mean the platform where we can say it is nothing but a dockyard. That is the reason. So this can be witnessed in Allen versus Flood also. This is one of the tort case law. The defendant, a trades union, told an employer that its member would not work alongside non-union workers. All of the workers were employed on a day-by-day basis. So each worker essentially entered into a new contract with the employer each day, like a casual labor. So the employer was thus pressured to get rid of the non-union workers, else it would lose the service of the union workers. Because every labor party or the laborers, there would be a union is there. There is a trade union is there. Those who trade union, those who are members are there, naturally they will bind the contract. If any non-member would be there and they try to avoid it. If a non-member will work in the company, then the trade union members will boycott it. You are not supposed to take a non-union member. You have to take from the union, trade union members only. So thus they can make the employer to hire the trade union members. So that is the another point of thing we have to consider. So the non-union workers then sued the union on the basis that the union had caused them to become unemployed. This was unsuccessful because no contract had been breached since the non-union workers were re-employed each day. That is the reason any laborer or worker, he should be a member of any one of the union. Then his rights should be protected. I said any one of the union. He should not be non-union member. No. You should be any one of the union member would be there. At the time, union will try to protect the interest of the members. The union had thus only pursued the employer not to contact with the claimant again, means non-union members. While the claimant might have had an expectation that they would be given work, this was not a legal obligation. There was not any legal obligation on the employer to employ the non-union members. The reason is very few are the non-union members and most of them affiliated to any one of the union. Is it clear?
Yes.
So any employee, he should be a member of some union. Like university employee, there is what is that membership is there? STACO in the south. What is that membership? All the employee would have a union, like a club, like a corporation, a cooperative society. What is the name of the cooperative society in the south? I know this is STACO. Is it? Give me the answer.
Prof. No one of us is employed. That's
No, there would be a one cooperative society also there would will protect it, the interest of the employees, because employees will contribute to the society. If anybody wants some financial help, the cooperative society will give the loan with the low interest. Are you following me?
Yes.
So that is why every organization, either it is an industry or the university or any other employment place, there would be a society, there would be a union, the union will fight for their employees' rights. Of course, he has given the examination consideration. Let us see that what it is given here. As you will have noticed by now, union action, union action features heavily in the case law surrounding this tort. Always union is more powerful. No employer could touch or make anything to the trade union leader, because a trade union leader is having certain privileges. Are you following me?
Yes, Prof.
And this union leader, actually he will not work, but he will manage all the employees' task. But he will be given the monthly salary as usual. Plus, and whose work he is making or taking or employing or helping, they also pay a little amount for their expenses, for going and coming, or the photocopy charges, or the transport charges, or the chakula charges also. And he will does all the employees' demands, bring to the notice of the employer. So, however, it is worth being careful when dealing with the recognized unions. So, recognized unions means registered unions. They can be often taken action that, if done by any other party, would be deeply illegal. If any employer does anything which is against to the norms and rules of the trade union or the labor law, then definitely union file a case against the employer on behalf of the employee. The union will take care of it. In short, be wary of quickly stating that a union has acted illegitimately. Sometimes, union also pressurize the employer illegitimately also. The way, if the pressurize is making a strike, if it is a company. So furthermore, don't assume that the action taken by the defendant union in the case above and below the indicative of what union can and can't do nowadays. So naturally, every employer, at least he will give the respect to the union leaders, because they are more powerful. They do have the power of all the employees. And if these people say something, yes, all the employees will give the cooperation. If the trade union give the notice to the industry to make a strike, yes, they can do so. Then the industry will incur the loss of production. And hence, they try to console the trade union members and see that their demands should be fulfilled in installment basis or in pole basis. So this is itself is its own topic under the heading of the labor law. Especially the labor law is concerned, and there are a lot of workers would be there, and each shift there is a production. How many shifts industry work in the Tanzania? I repeat the question. How many shift, SHIFT shift, a industry work in Tanzania?
So, Prof.
See, production industry like coal or mica or tanzanite or electricity production or car production, fertilizer production, the industry work 24 hours. There is a first shift which generally from 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock to the 3 o'clock. The second shift which will work from the 3 o'clock to up to 10 o'clock. Then a night shift, it will work from 11 o'clock to morning 6 o'clock. That means company will not be closed at any time. Only the office bearers will work in general shift, that is morning 9 o'clock to evening 5 o'clock. But all the production side, including the engineers, including the semi-skilled laborers, including the laborers, they will work 3 shifts. And every month, every week, the shift will change. Suppose somebody is having the first shift this week, the next week he is having the second shift. If he is having the second shift next week, the third week he is having the night shift. Because equal opportunity will be given to all the members to work in 3 shifts. Are you following me?
Yes, Prof.
Yes.
Because industry will not close. Industry will work 24 hours. Provided if it is run by the electricity, if the electricity shortage is there, the industry having their own generators and produce their own electricity to run their factory. Am I right?
Yes, Prof.
And moreover, the electricity is supplied by the government. For the factories, the rate of unit is different. For the businessmen's, for the shops, the rate of unit is different. To the residential locality, the rate of unit is different. Am I right? Either you say yes or you say I don't know. But you have to say, Amna kimia. No silence. Give me the answer, any one answer. You can say pass on. You are not saying either
Yes,
pass on
Prof.
or you are not giving the answer. Because I told you, my class is not a sermon class where parokia I will give the lecture, the other disciples just listen or they do their own activity. My class should be a participatory class rather than the parokia class or a sermon class or a father class. Am I right?
Yes, Prof.
And I would get the answer from you. So industries will run in the 3 shift: morning shift, second shift, night shift. Otherwise, the production will not be there. So damage is required. What is the time? It is not enough for a defendant to have merely induced the breach of a contract. The claimant must show some loss has stemmed from the action. If anybody has induced you to make a breach of contract, naturally you will get the losses. And the claimant must show some loss has stemmed out, means come out from the action. However, this does not necessarily mean that quantifiable loss needs to have arisen from the breach of a contract. It is not necessarily that a substantial loss is caused to you. No. Even a mere loss is also caused to you because of somebody's induced you to make a breach of contract. Then you have to, the person who induced should have to pay the compensation. Thus, in Exchange Telegraph Company versus Grigori and Company, this is another case law. It's a Kuhn-Bell's case law, and 147 page. The different company induced a third party to give its stock information. Who induced third party? To whom? One of the employee of the company. What to do? You want to know how much the stock it is having information. In breach of the third party's copyright agreement with the claimant. See, no worker could give or pass any information regarding the company to any other person. If they do so on the inducement of the other person, both of them held liable to pay the compensation. So in a breach of the third party's copyright agreement with the claimant could not be said to have lost anything. They were prohibited in law from providing the information to the defendant. They are not supposed to provide any information to the defendant for sale or otherwise. Regardless, the court found that infringement of the claimant's copyright property fulfill the damage requirement of the tort. For instance, I don't know whether you know it or not. I wrote a book, General Principle of Law of Contract in Tanzania. How many of them read my book? Give me the answer.
Sorry, Prof. I didn't understand your question. Can you repeat it, please?
I appreciate your transparency. I wrote a book. What book? Here I will show you. Here I will show you the book which I wrote and which is there in the South Library. The book name is General Principles of Law of Contract in Tanzania. It is me and Mudhir Atuman Mage. We wrote this book. See, you could see now. Did you see now?
Yes.
What is that? What did you see?
General Principle for Law of Contract in Tanzania.
Author? Who is the author?
Authors, Mohammed Saheb Hussain, and the other one, Mudir Asman Maji.
So published by
Law Africa Publishing Limited, Dar es Salaam, 2013.
Yes. This book I wrote, I made a contract with the Law Africa Publishers Tanzania Limited. No one can tap my information without my right or copyright or without the copyright of the Law Africa. If anyone induces to somebody else to get the information of the book or the experts taken out and used in his own book, it is a copyright violation. It is a copyright violation. So if anyone make a breach of contract, third person, then the Law Africa will bring an action against them. Even myself, being the author of the book, can bring an action against them, provided if he use that for the commercial purpose. Suppose if he used for the student notes purpose, at the time, he need not to take my permission because he is not doing the commercial business. Am I right?
Yes.
So that is the actually the thing I want to impress upon you. So if anybody induces to make a breach, naturally he would be held liable to pay the compensation, and that is the thing which I want to say. So defenses are
Prof,
concerned. Yeah, please.
Sorry, Prof.
Yes.
Suppose that someone has induced the Law Africa
Yes.
to give the information about the book.
Yes.
Then, by the way, you didn't suffer any loss. That means there is a possibility of claiming a breach of contract between you and the Law Africa, despite that the fact you did not face any loss.
Definitely.
So I will. Okay, then what are you going to claim for against the Law Africa?
See, if the Law Africa employee has given some information which he is not supposed to give, if he did it the law of Africa will file a case against the person who induced it plus the employee also. Even myself also can file a case jointly with the law of Africa or severally with the law of Africa to the person who induced the employee of the law of Africa to supply the information. At that instance, jointly and severally they are liable. Who? The induced person plus the person who is working in there. Inducer and induced. Both of them.
Well, Prof. Then, by the way, after the information were given to your side, you did not suffer any loss. Then what will be claiming for if there was no any damage which was suffered to your side?
See, the point is, my intellectual property of the brain is copyright. The Copyright Act, it will be registered. Law of Africa make the registration. No other man without the consent of the author or the publisher should use the material from that book. Okay, if you want to use the material for your article, okay, you can use, but you have to endorse in the reference. That is called, if you don't do so, it leads to the plagiarism. Number one. Number two, the as it is words, you are not supposed to use it, because a software is there, Turnitin, plagiarism software. It will show how much you have taken the percentage from a particular source. When you have taken the idea from there, you have to give acknowledgement in the footnote, plus the same thing you are not to reproduce it like copy and paste. What you have to do is, you can make the paraphrasing and you can use your own language and see that the same gist will come out. Is it clear?
Clear, Prof.
See, I am writing an article. See, I wrote an article for the South Law Journal. I don't know whether you contributed any article for the South Law Journal.
Not yet, Prof. We are going to contribute it the time we are going to accomplish our dissertation. Maybe we shall.
That is a mandatory. Two publications should be there before you are going to be awarded with your masters. Did you get my point? Say yes or no.
Yes, Prof. I got it. Yes, I got it.
See, many, Stella, who graduated last year. Stella Minja.
I don't know how.
Okay. I will post you. We together wrote an article. It is published in the journal. Like many people took the help of me because I am already a professor and I don't need any articles to be there. But every year I publish it. Every year I publish it because I want to become a professor emeritus. That is my life ambition. So,
keep it up, Prof.
a good lecturer, a good professor, he will not keep quiet. Till his death, he will teach. Till his death, he will write. Is it clear?
Clear, Prof.
Okay. And I told you, I will send the message to you to keep a webinar on International Education Day, which is there on 24th January. You can write an article and you can present it also. But only time given is 10 minutes. You prepare the PPT and you present it if you want. Okay, let us come to my point now. Here is, defenses are concerned. A defendant can argue that their action were justified as a defense to this tort. However, the bar of advancing this defense is understandably high so as to avoid eroding the utility of the tort. The defenses, if you take the defense, it should not be a lame defense. For instance, if I say, all chaggas are janjasana, what I said?
Sorry, please. Can you repeat it?
All chagga, CHUGGA, chaggas are janjasana.
Including myself.
Is it a defamation?
Oh, probably it's not a defamation.
The defense is, I am not particularly say so and so person chagga is a janjasana or chunabuzi. I made a fair comment and hence I can take the defense of the fair comment. Is it clear?
Clear, Prof.
Okay, thus in South Wales Miners Federation versus Glamorgan Coal Company Limited, it's a tort case law. The defendant union asked their members to only work intermittently at their employer's coal mine, effectively a partial strike. The trade union has given the employee, you have to work only 6 days in a week. 1 day is holiday. Am I right? Am I right?
Sorry, Prof. There was a problem. I think I didn't get you clearly.
See, I repeat the question. In industry, can you work 8 days in a week?
8 days per week.
In a week?
It depends. If there was an agreement.
Never. Labor law says in a week at least 24 hours holiday should be there and it should be the payday. The amount will be paid even though he did not work. The Shops and Establishment Act also says any worker should be given 1 holiday in a week. Either it may be Friday, it may be Saturday, it may be Sunday. But the Africa, in the universities, how many working days are there?
6 days.
But I took the class today also. That means you are supposed to work only 5 days in a week. The other is the arrangement between the you and the student or lecturer and the student. Is it clear?
Yeah, Prof.
Okay, now, so if anybody makes a good not to work 7 days, totally 1 day you have to take the rest because it is the body needs the rest to spend the time with the spouse, children, father, mother, sister, kaka, dada, so on and so forth. So the miners were paid on the basis of the current price of coal. The defendant union argued that in doing so, they were reducing the supply of coal and thus increasing the price to the benefit of both its members and the mine owners. The point is, especially mining industry, they don't want to close it, even on Sunday. They use certain employees, but what they do know, if you work on the holiday, you will be given 1 extra holiday plus 1 day payment more. Is it clear?
Clear, Prof.
And that is the reason, like essential services like electricity, water, and there people will work even on holiday also. But they will be given extra holiday, number one, and extra 1 day pay added to their salary. So, as a pleasingly novel, the argument might be it failed. The reason is, if you are working and working and working and producing the product, if the product is more, then the cost should be the left. Am I right? I repeat, if the product is more, the cost is less. If the product is less, the cost is
Oh,
more. Suppose if the ladies ratio is very less and the gent ratio is very more, then government will give the permission. You can marry 2 wives. Are you following me?
yes, Prof.
Because the necessity, even though the Bible will not permit, because Christianity propagates monogamy. Am I right?
Yes,
And Islam propagate polygamy. Am I right?
yes, Prof.
How many you could know in the Panza having the 4 wives among the Muslims?
Only few. Only few. Only few.
And that to be, you can count in fingers. I don't think that
Yes.
in the present situation, a man is having the 4 wives. It is only theoretically. Practically, it is impossible. Because 1 wife is equivalent to 4 now.
How, Prof?
Did you get my point regarding the expenditure is concerned?
I sure.
So there is one noted example of a legitimate strike action being held as a justified. So here, Brimilo versus Casson case law, the defendant union represented chorus girls working for the theater manager. I don't know how much you understood. The union represented, you know what is meant by chorus girls? Here, I am underlined it. Did you know what is meant by chorus girls? Say yes or no or say pass on.
Pass on.
You know girls, Miss Chana.
Yes, we know them.
Do you sing songs sometimes? At least in the bathroom?
Yes.
Do you sing the song?
Yes.
If you sing Pekiake alone, it is a solo song. It is a solo song. Solo means Pekiake. If the troupe is singing, like in a church, in church solo song is there or chorus is there. In church, do they sing single? They sing in the group.
In a group. Sure.
Yes?
They're singing in a group, Prof.
They sing in the group.
Yes.
When they sing in the group, that is called chorus song. Is
Okay.
it clear?
Clear, Prof.
That is called chorus song. So here, many people will sing the chorus girls working for a theater manager for singing in an attempt to have its member paid properly. It persuaded a number of theaters to break its contract with the manager. The reason is, if they pay a lesser amount, they do have every right to make a breach of contract. But once they agreed to sing chorus, they have to fulfill the promise. While this constituted the inducement of breach, the defendant argued that they were justified in doing so. The chorus girls were paid so little that many of them were forced to supplement their wages via prostitution. Because the amount which you are giving is so less, even they could not feed in one time chakula. So these chorus girls were, for the sake of money, they are practicing the prostitution, Malaya, selling their body. At that instance, yes, they can make a breach of a contract, induce. They can make a breach of a contract because a minimum wages should be paid. How much the minimum wages to a labor for a woman or a man in Tanzania?
60,000.
Yes?
60.
60 what? 60,000 per day.
Per month.
Per day, how much they pay casual labor, for men and for women?
Woman, I'm not sure exactly.
Okay, say about men.
About man,
Yes.
10,000, especially the manual, the hard one, maybe in construction.
If the man will be
activities.
paid 10,000, then woman will be paid 6,000. If your low minimum wages, there is a minimum wages act is there in every country. You cannot give less than that much amount. If you could give it,
Yes, I
you
think
can make a breach of contract also.
sure,
Or
and
they
I
can
think
file
the
a
minimum
case.
amount.
They can file a case under the forced labor, bonded labor.
Then
Is it
what
clear?
if there is an agreement? Then, Prof,
Yes.
what if there was an agreement between the employer and the employee that
It is a
the
forced agreement.
payment
It cannot be
forced
valid.
agreement?
It cannot be valid.
Okay, even if the employee have accepted it to that aspect.
Even the employee also accepted it cannot valid in the court of law. Because
Okay, Prof.
he doesn't have any other thing. And she wants to, or he wants to work. See, many people, those who are Tajiri, Najwa Tajiri,
Dear Prof.
they will employ a beautiful girl in their house as a house girl.
Sure.
And they use for the multi-purpose also.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get my point?
Yes, Prof.
So now the question comes over there.
Mm.
And that is acceptable by both the parties. Amna matatizo. If mama knows, what will happen to the Tajiri? Umbu kata.
Probably
Umepata?
if yes. Hey.
So, you cannot exploit anyone in any manner. Is it clear?
Yes, Prof.
They can go to the court of law and they can file a case even though they agreed. it is a adhesive contract. Yes, sir, forcefully that I agreed because I don't have any other obligation. Or no
Sorry,
other
Prof, can you
choice.
repeat the name? Sorry, Prof,
Yes,
can you repeat the name of you? You mentioned a kind of contract before. Can
adhesive,
you
adhesive,
repeat it?
adhesive
Any
contract.
adhesive?
ADHSIVE. Adhesive. ADHESIVE. Adhesive means sticky, sticky.
Okay, Prof.
Like adhesive
Thank you.
envelopes are there. You need not to add gondi. Just you can remove the layer, you can stick it. It's the adhesive envelopes, adhesive covers, adhesive postal stamps. Like a sticker, you remove the back layer, you can stick it. So the court will say that it is the adhesive contract. He doesn't have the bottom line high, other party, his bottom line is low, hence he signed the contract. So this is the way a particular form of justification can be employed when the defendant can demonstrate they are exercising the right which trumps of the claimant. Any contract, yes, you can make it out, but if it is against the policy of the government, then such a contract is voidable. You cannot make the interest 24%. What is the bank rate interest now? At the most 9% or the 6%. Can you make the 12% interest? It's exorbitant. The court will struck down. Is it clear?
Clear, Prof.
So, the illustrated in Edwin Hills versus Partners and First National Finance Corporation, the defendant lent money to a developer to develop some land. This meant it was a secured creditor and thus had a right over the land. The claimant were a firm of architects and who also had a contract with the developer to work on the land. The loan lapsed, thus giving the defendant a right to call on its debt. This could have resulted in the defendant taking over the land and the claimant would have had their contract terminated. Instead, the defendant arranged for a refinancing detail, part of which involved the developer appointing a new firm of architects and thus dismissing the claimant. See, now the whole facts of the case is when you make a contract with a developer, you know who is a developer? Builder.
Yes, Prof.
And the owner of the property is the landlord. When a developer comes to the landlord and there is an agreement between them, okay, this much area is mine, you can construct whatever you want to construct, but half of the floors are mine, half of is yours. If they agreed together, the builder will invest, but the builder is not a fool enough. He will advertise in the newspaper that whoever they pay the amount now in the first, and they will give him the flat after 3 months. And half of the amount they have to pay now. So he will take the money from the people, those who wants to buy it, and he will construct the building. Once the building is over, as the stipulated time, the rest of the amount will be given by the occupier or the owner who is going to purchase the flat. At that instance, both of them will sign on the sale deed. Who both of them? Number one, landlord. Number two, developer. Builder. Is it clear?
Clear, Prof.
And there is a provision also there. If the 3-bedroom flat, people only having the car parking, and 2-bedroom flat only having the two-wheeler parking. You have to pay two-wheeler or the three-wheeler parking place also in the cellar or in the ground floor. Is it clear? If a building is not given in the proper time as stipulated in the contract, you can file a case against the builder as well as the landowner for getting the compensation. Because at the time of the construction, he has given at least half of the amount. Say about it is a 20 millions, 10 millions he paid in the beginning. Is it clear?
Yeah, Prof.
So, economic way of the tort, they will count it. How the economic play the efficiency in the tort. So, they have the loss by unlawful means, and there is a intention to harm. If there is an intention to harm, the compensation is more. And we have the case laws also under this one. And in that way, what I want to say is, every tort or contract, if there is a damages occurred over there, it should be paid as per the economic analysis. So intentional harms satisfy the mental ingredients of this tort. This is so even if the defendant does not wish to harm the claimant, in the sense that he would prefer that the claimant were not standing in his way. Take a case where the defendant seeks to advance his own business by pursuing a course of conduct which he knows well, in the very nature of thing, be injurious to the claimant. In other words, a case where loss to the claimant is the observed side of the coin, other side of the coin, from the gain in the defendant. If the defendant goes ahead, in such case, the state of mind will satisfy the mental ingredient in that particular area. I don't know whether it is there or not. A school permission will not be given when there is already a school there in that particular area. Is it clear?
Yeah, Prof.
A school permission will not be given in the certain premises, even though where there is already a school. Because if the two schools are there in the same place, naturally there will be a competition. When there is a competition, the owner will suffer a loss. And hence, they say, no, already a school is there. If you want to open the school in the particular area, we will give the permission. See, in Dar es Salaam, for any industry, they are not giving the permission now. But where they are giving the permission? They are giving the permission in the Dodoma, because they want to increase the industries and the population in the Dodoma. I believe now all ministers are staying in the Dodoma. Am I right?
You are right, Prof.
Earlier, they used to go only for the sessions and they will be back to the Dar es Salaam. But now, everything would be in Dodoma, including the Utumishi, Najwa Utumishi.
Leo.
Yes, civil servants.
See, even the people, those who are working, and the people, those who are giving the work of the government, they should also be there in the same place where the headquarters is there. A treasury also there in the same place. A treasury should not be there in the Dar es Salaam. It should be there in the Dodoma. So every officer should be shifted to the Dodoma. Now Dodoma is increasing its good roads. I don't know whether you saw the Dodoma bus stand. Did you see the Dodoma bus stand?
Yes, Prof.
It is like an international airport.
Yeah. To myself, I just consider it as a normal one. There is no a huge difference with the other one compared with ours there and Nyegezi Stadium of us.
Of course, I did not see the Nyegezi. Still, I did not go inside. No, I saw only from outside. So
The normal one,
now,
but the only difference
yes. The purpose of my saying
was
is,
saying,
yes, speak.
what I was saying is, I was saying that the Dodoma stand, it just have a big area than others, and they're expecting to construct more building around there,
The
so it
reason
will be
is,
a
the
potential one.
reason is the capital is Dodoma, not Dar es Salaam.
Sure.
That is another advantage. So, unlawful means no one can enrich himself at the cost of others. Am I right?
Yes, Prof.
Until recently, the criteria was quite wide, including just about any act which the defendant was not a liberty to do, including those prohibited by the tort or contract. Most recently, however, the scope of what fulfilled the unlawful act criteria was narrowed down. Again, the OBG versus Allen case law, it is made it clear by Lord Hoffman, provided the following definition. Unlawful means consist of acts intended to cause loss to the claimant by interfering with the freedom of the third party in a way which is unlawful and which is intended to cause loss to the claimant. It does not, in any my opinion, include acts which may be unlawful against a third party but which don't affect the freedom of deal with the claimant. If the third party induces the party to make a breach of contract where the loss occurred to the person, definitely the third party would be held liable to pay the compensation to the person who incurred the loss. So, in this way, we do have the cases of a different nature in the tort and where the compensation will be calculated by following the economic efficiency. So, now the time is, yes, 10:12. I don't know, today the Cisco Webex is very much kind enough because I started the 9:10 or 9:12 or 9:13, but it is only the 50 minutes time would be there. But it is very kind enough today to extend the time to teach you. So in the next class, we will see fraud and misrepresentation. Here I am keeping the asterisk mark. Fraud and misrepresentation, if such a thing would be done, how economic efficiency would be there in avoiding the tort law in the form of damages. So this way we'll see in the next class up to that extent, and we believe that our next class is on Wednesday. Am I right?
Yes, Prof.
Yes, let me see that whether we can. Yes, Nini Muzungumzu, Sema. Nyumbani muzungumzu au na darasa muzungumzu? Pole pole, you could understand what I am saying. In the beginning, it will be the Kumusana, and after some times, it will be 100% easy, and you can participate it. You can ask the questions, and you could get me also. Is it clear?
Clear, Prof.
Mara Kwanza, Tatu robo kosa. Pili nusu robo kosa. Nusu kosa. Tatu robo kosa. Inne sio kosa. Is it clear?
Clear, Prof. Pole pole. Slowly
Yes, that
but
is a kali.
sure.
Slow and steady wins the race. Slow and steady wins the race. Subira yavuta
Slow
heri.
and slow and steady wins the race.
Wins the race. WINS wins
Okay.
race. Horse race, motor car race, bike race,
Okay, Prof. I got it.
ACE race.
Okay, Prof. I got it now.
Yes. So, when I speak face to face, you could not understand. How could you understand on the online? Is it clear?
Clear, Prof.
So, with this, I will stop today's class and we'll see the next day the fraud and misrepresentation. So, asante sana, nashukuru sana, Mungu akubariki na kukulinda, koheri, goodbye, and see you
Goodbye, Prof.
end of
Goodbye,
the
Prof.
meeting. Sawa.